Hey there! Welcome back, Amanda with the Happy Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own body butter. I'm a lotion junkie. I always have been. I love the feeling of having my skin and my hands moisturized, especially with me being out in the garden or in the kitchen, and as many times as I'm washing my hands a day, I need something that really protects my skin and just feels good. And I have become so disenchanted with the brands in the stores. Even the most natural brands have some sort of preservative, or maybe they don't smell good, or maybe they don't feel good, right? There's always like a consequence to that when you have something that's on the shelf in a store for months on end. So I've resorted to making my own, and I have not bought a commercial lotion in probably close to 8 months. That's a big deal for me. It probably sounds so ridiculous and crazy to others. That's actually a pretty big deal. So I've been making it now for 8 months. I'm so happy with it, and I want to share the recipe with you today. So the 4 ingredients, because that's all it is really 4 ingredients, are jojoba oil, which is a really moisturizing, nourishing oil for your skin, mango butter, shea butter, and essential oils. That's it, just those 4 things. Now, with the essential oils, you can obviously change up the different scents and the different smells of your body butter. And then with the jojoba oil, we're actually going to use that and extract some medicinal properties of medicinal plants prior. And I'll link down below where I purchased these ingredients and the recipe. So this process could not be more easy, right? Especially if you do just a little planning ahead. The first thing you need to do is infuse your jojoba oil. Now in here, I have some dried calendula flowers as well as dried lavender, because that's what I wanted to have my scent or the smell of my body butter and extract all of those wonderful qualities. Calendula is really good for the skin. So I've had this sitting in my kitchen on the windowsill for about a month. I just put the flowers in maybe halfway, and then this is a 1/2 pint jar, and then cover it with the jojoba oil. And then we're gonna measure out a 1/2 cup of oil for our recipe today. So if you can have a little forethought to go ahead and infuse your oil beforehand and then leave it sit, you can then go ahead and make your body butter whenever you want, right? Whenever you're ready. If you don't really work that way, as far as planning ahead's not your thing, and you just kind of want to do it on demand right now, then 2 ways. You can either just skip the medicinal properties of the flowers and just use the jojoba oil as is, or you can do this over on the stove over a double boiler or on very low heat. And again, you would be bringing the oil to a very low temperature, but infusing the medicinal properties of the plants that way. Again, I'm going to have some notes down below of some ideas of different flowers and different plants that you can use this with and how to do this. So this step, number 1 step, is done. The second step is going to be melting 100 grams of mango butter. This is mango butter. And 100 grams of shea butter. I am going to put that in a glass Pyrex dish. I'm going to microwave it, and then we're gonna mix everything together. I also have some essential oils here. I pulled out lavender and clary sage. I thought that would smell really well. Let's go ahead and measure out our mango butter and shea butter. Okay, that's 100 grams of shea butter. Now, if you couldn't tell, the shea butter is a little messy. It's very, like, I can even just rub it in my skin right now. It feels so good. It is like the skin superfood. It is so good for you. And then the mango butter, also extremely moisturizing. and also loaded with some fatty acids and vitamins B, C, D, and E. I'm gonna tear that again. And we're gonna get another 100 in here. This one is not as easy, so you gotta work on this one a little bit. But because the mango butter is a little bit harder at room temp, this helps, the two of these combined, right? This helps bring your body butter into a more manageable form rather than it just being this total liquid that you have sitting on your counter. This also makes really good gifts. So I made this for Christmas last year and gave it as some gifts also. It smells good. It feels good. People are gonna love it. All right, we got 100 grams of each. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for a couple of minutes and let this get melted. So I have another glass kind of Pyrex bowl here, as well as a ½ cup measuring cup and just a small little strainer. I'm going to strain out a ½ cup of my infused jojoba oil. So I'm just gonna push down on this a little bit. Okay, everything is melted for the most part. There's a couple of smaller chunks. I'm just gonna mix them in here. Break them up. So if I were to use the immersion blender right now, it wouldn't do too much. So what you're basically doing is whipping everything together. And so I'm gonna have to let this cool a little bit, and you'll kind of know when it's the right temperature as far as cooling, because you'll start to see it become less translucent and more opaque, right? It'll get more creamier as you can see it. And I'll show you the progression so that you know when the right time is to start whipping it together. But once we get the really good desired opaqueness, we're gonna whip it with the immersion blender. And then I have these really pretty glass jars that I then put it in. This is what I use to hold my body butter, and then I'll just leave that on my bathroom counter. The last thing we're gonna add is some essential oils. And like I said, I've got lavender and clary sage. Do about maybe 20 drops of each. All right, so I will come back and show you the next step once this gets a little bit more opaque. It's definitely thickening up and it smells so good. It started to harden up a bit, so I decided to mix it up again and then put it in my glass jar here. And so it made a good amount. And I'm just gonna let this sit on the counter and really firm up. Remember that mango butter was really hard at room temperature, whereas the jojoba oil is obviously a liquid oil, and then the shea butter is, you know, somewhere in between. I'm just like rubbing the rest of it all over my hands right now. It feels and smells so good. But I'm gonna leave it sit on the counter until it hardens up considerably. It won't get as hard as the mango butter, right? It's supposed to be a body butter. It's supposed to be spreadable. Try making your own body butter. Your skin will thank you. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. Stay healthy, stay well. See you next time.